Hi, this is Dr. Jamie Linton. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the framework we're going to be using for assessment planning, which is known as Understanding by Design. Understanding by Design is a backwards design process developed by Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe. Understanding by Design is a way of thinking purposefully about curricular planning. The goal of Understanding by Design, or UBD, is student understanding and students' ability to transfer what they've learned and use those skills in context. Backwards design is the idea of beginning with the end in mind. Wiggins and McTighe suggest that planning is best done backwards, when we begin with the desired results and then plan assessments and instruction that can help students move toward those desired results. The backwards designing process in the Understanding by Design framework includes these 3 steps. The first step is identifying desired results. So when we're planning either at the lesson plan level or the unit plan level or even long-term planning, we want to begin with the end in mind. First, we identify what are the things students need to know and be able to do. We start with identifying those. That's going to be the first piece of your assessment plan. After we've identified desired results, the next step is determining what acceptable evidence would be. So if I know what my students should know and be able to do, next, I have to decide what will it look like when students know and can do those things. How will I know whether students know and can do those things? This is where the assessment planning piece comes in. So the UBD process, these 3 steps, the first is identifying desired results, and then the second is where we are developing assessments that will help us measure whether and how well students know and can do the things we've identified in the first step. And then the third piece of the UBD process is to plan instruction. We develop activities, learning experiences, and we plan instruction that will help students meet the outcomes we've identified in step 1. Now, a typical lesson planning process might often begin with step 3. Teachers might begin by planning their daily lessons. Maybe they find some neat ideas for activities and they start there. And then later they determine how they're going to assess how well students have met outcomes. But Wiggins and McTighe suggest that that is actually the last step in the planning process. First, we have to get really clear about what students should know and be able to do. Then we determine how will we measure that. And then finally, we develop and plan learning experiences that will help students be successful on those assessments so we know they've met those desired results. Essentially, the backwards design process is a continuous improvement approach to curricular design. The idea is that through these 3 steps, we're gathering information as instructors to help us make better instructional decisions. So we're gathering assessment data from students about how well students are progressing toward our outcomes. We're gathering data about how well our instruction is meeting our desired results, and then we can make adjustments as needed. I'll give you an example of my own application of the backwards design process. When I'm developing a course at the syllabus level, when I'm developing a new syllabus, I use the backwards design approach. First, I develop student learning outcomes. These are the big things that students need to know and be able to do by the end of the semester. That is step 1. Begin identifying those desired results. This is beginning with the end in mind. Where are we headed this semester? What are the big things students need to know and be able to do? The second step is determining what assignments and assessments I'll use to measure those outcomes. So if students have to meet those certain outcomes, how will I know that they've met them? What will performance look like? So that's where I develop the assignments and assessments I'll use throughout the semester to measure student performance on those outcomes. That's step 2. And the final step, step 3, is where I develop the course calendar and the sequence of instruction throughout the semester. So on a typical syllabus, you'll find a course calendar that lists dates and topics, and it has a sequence of topics and a sequence of assignment due dates. That is step 3. That's the instructional piece that will help students perform well on those assessments to show that they've met those desired outcomes. And then as the semester goes on, my step as the instructor, my work as the instructor is to analyze incoming student work against those outcomes to make sure students are making progress toward those outcomes. I get feedback from students and reflect regularly, and I can make adjustments to instruction based on the feedback I'm getting through those ongoing assessments and assignments. So I can make changes throughout the semester, and then I can also revise my syllabus for future sections.